Hey everyone, welcome to Puck It with Joe on Sports Grid. It is Thursday and we're day 3 in the NHL. I want to thank you guys for joining me here today. We're going to be going over all 7 games on deck for tonight on the ice. Big shout out to everyone over on IG that is watching on Sports Grid Live as well. Going to try to be able to watch your comments coming in as well as everyone's comments watching on Twitter X. So you guys get those comments coming in. I did ask some questions. So at the end of today's show, anyone that did post those questions for me, we will be going over those, including the possibility of the Habs winning the Stanley Cup. I don't think it's happening, but someone asked me, so I'll give you my take on those. But we're going to go over every single game, give you my leans on each and every game. These are leans and bets that I'm liking, player props as well. So if I love anything, I'll make sure I do tell you guys. It's going to be a great night on the ice. Now, those overs absolutely cashed last night. The only game not going over was that Bruins game. The Bruins actually did cover that puck line, which was a game I was kind of worried that it was going to be a parlay buster out there for everyone. We know that the Blackhawks had played the night before. Now, if you rode with me with Connor Bedard to get that anytime goal, you absolutely cashed. So he had an assist in the first game, a goal last night. Absolutely phenomenal young player out there. So I can't wait to see him in his next game. And I do think, looking ahead at the Blackhawks, that they do get the win in their next one. But let's start going over all of these games. Like I said, I will get to your questions that you did ask on IG and on Twitter at the end. And I'll make sure I try to put some sort of timestamp out there for you guys on X on which point in the video you can see all of these bets, but we are following the timeline schedule for me talking them here. So let's look at the first one on deck tonight with the New York Rangers taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Now, current odds over here at FanDuel, the New York Rangers minus 125 plus 104 for the Buffalo Sabres. Total of 6.5 at minus 114 to the over. This one, I did like the Sabres going into it. I'm going to be honest about that. I did think the Sabres had the ability to pull off a home win. High hopes for this team this upcoming season. Here is my issue and my concern with the Buffalo Sabres tonight. This team seems like the trendy public team to jump on top of in this game at home. I'm going to stay off a side of the Buffalo Sabres because of it. I just think there's too many people expecting this team to come out and easily get the win. The New York Rangers are a hard team to play. And while they're an older team and while this team does struggle with faster paced teams, Buffalo Sabres aren't that fast of a team. But there is one player that I am circling, a player prop I'm liking in this one. I'm going to look at Tage Thompson for that anytime goal. It's coming in at plus 170. He does play for the Buffalo Sabres. I think his ability to come out nice and strong and get that goal for the Buffalo Sabres is right there. Looking at the goaltending matchup, we have a Levi in net for the Buffalo Sabres, and we have Igor Shesterkin for the New York Rangers. We know how strong he is. Now, my concern here for the Rangers is Shesterkin last season started off slow. So take that into account when you look at this Rangers team. But Shesterkin, although it's Shesterkin, I do think we can look at him to get back on track as we get into a couple of these games. I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a couple of slip-ups by him to start this season here. The Rangers have dominated this matchup, though, 12-5 in the last 15 meetings in Buffalo. Those stats that hold true, those trends are really holding true this season. We saw the Edmonton Oilers just get whacked last night versus the Vancouver Canucks. And that was a game that line looked kind of fishy in that one. I was riding the over for the full game and Edmonton's team total to that over. We know Edmonton wasn't able to cash that over on their team total, but we did see a nice one there for the Vancouver Canucks pushing us over that total themselves. So let's go, you guys. We're going to make some money definitely on the board today. I love Tage Thompson for that anytime goal. I think it is the best bet of this game, Morocco. So definitely going to be a good one here. Looking at him last season, 47 goals, 47 assists, 78 games with Buffalo. I expect the same sort of production in this one here tonight. Now, Total wise in this game, the unders hit in in their last 3 games versus each other, 7-3 across their previous 10 meetings. So these are 2 teams that trend to that under. That being said, I gave you my concerns there with Igor Shesterkin to start the season. That's where we did see those struggles last year. He's a phenomenal goalie. So to fade him is a hard thing to do. I don't like doing it. I'm going to stay off this total, but I do think the best way to go in this one is just look at Tag Thompson for that anytime goal at plus 170. Now, push comes to shove. If you are wanting a side in this one, I would lean on the New York Rangers here. They have the experience as well. And while this Buffalo Sabres team is one that I'm pretty high on this upcoming season, I just think going into this one, there's too many people riding this home dog in this game for me to feel comfortable with them. The next game on the book is the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, current odds, the Flyers coming in at minus 102, minus 118 for the Columbus Blue Jackets over on FanDuel. Total 6.5, minus 114 to the over. Okay, looking at this matchup, it's going to come down to goaltending. I really do think. We have Elvis in net for the Columbus Blue Jackets. You guys absolutely know I do not trust Elvis in the building. He let in beach balls last season. Elvis cannot stand on his head to save his life, and he's facing off against the Philadelphia Flyers and Carter Hart. Now, Carter Hart in some of those games last season was absolutely phenomenal out there. His goals against average just plummeted at one certain point, and then he started a lot of those goals coming in. I expect Carter Hart to come into this season phenomenally strong, and because of that, and only because of that, I am looking at the Philadelphia Flyers to be able to get the win in this game. Minus 102 there on the money line over on FanDuel, and I think it's a prime opportunity for them to get the first win of the season over the Buffalo Sabres. Now, if you don't want to bet the Philadelphia Flyers, if you're a Columbus Blue Jackets supporter, or if you want a player prop that I really do think is in the plus money and worth a shot, it's Adam Fantilli here of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, he was picked up in the 3rd round of their draft last season. He's turning 19, and guess when? He's turning 19 tonight, making his NHL debut, and I do think he can get that goal. So him for the anytime goal tonight is coming in at plus 320 now. That line has moved. It was plus 330 earlier in the day, and I think Fantilli has the size, he has the skill, and the competitive nature of this kid is second to none. So 3rd round pick in the draft by the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think he comes out and makes a splash, just like we've seen out of Connor Bedard. He is phenomenal. I actually thought he would have gone second in the NHL draft. So I'm looking for him to come in and get us at plus 320 money tonight. It's actually my favorite bet in this game. So first 2 games on the docket, you guys. I am liking those prop bets more than I'm liking sides. And I think it's a great way to tackle these first couple of games as we go into NHL, is looking at the players who you really trust to come out and get that production, especially on the offensive side. And you'll notice I love goalie props, and anyone who caught us here on Puck It with Joe last season knows as we get deeper into the season, the goalie props definitely something that I'm isolating, targeting, and trying to make some money on. At this point in the season, those goalie props, I'm throwing out the window. I'm not even looking at their numbers here because I don't think it's the right time to look at the goalies for over. Now, that being said, we did look at some futures for those goalies. Korpisalo, you guys know that I'm really high on this season, although he struggled in his last game out with the Ottawa Senators. So we'll see what happens overall. And yes, he went 3rd overall. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, let's look at the next game on the board. We have the Detroit Red Wings taking on the New Jersey Devils. Now, this game has the expectation of absolute fireworks out there, and I don't think it will disappoint. I think this is going to be a fast-paced, high-scoring game. Current lines are right now that over 6.5. I'm actually surprised we haven't got more juice on that. The over 6.5, it's still at minus 110, plus 190 on the Detroit Red Wings to pull off the upset in New Jersey, minus 235 here on the New Jersey Devils, plus 1.5 on the Red Wings. You're getting value at minus 120. Laying the 1.5 with the Devils is plus 100. This, you guys, is going to be such an interesting game. I think the Detroit Red Wings are getting a little bit disrespected out there. And I know some of you are Red Wings fans, but this Devils team, what we saw out of them last year, the addition of Tyler Toffoli, Jack Hughes, Timo Meyer, this team is going to be so phenomenally strong on the offensive side of the puck. Now, Vanacek expected in goal. We know how strong he was last season. He went 33, 11, and 4 with a 2.45 goals against average, a save percentage of 0.911. Huso. Billy Huso coming, and he reminds me of a villain as soon as I say his first name. Billy Huso coming in here for the Detroit Red Wings. He went 26, 22, 7, 3.11 goals against average, and that save percentage below 900 at 0.896. So not the level of goaltending as Vanacek here in Billy Huso. So that is what pushes me towards New Jersey Devils, especially in this one, because I do think this is a Devils team that can get the win on their home ice. My concern here is, can they cover that puck line, laying the 1.5, because you can't take them straight up on the money with how underrated I think the Red Wings are coming into this game. I think the plus 1.5 on the Red Wings is a nice way to go in this game. I expect this one to be tight, and I think the only way the Devils get the puck line cover here is if we get that empty netter. But the possibility of the empty netter is so real. We know we've seen those empty netters already come in the first couple of days of this season. So you got to be cautious when you're betting these puck lines, because they're willing to pull those goaltenders 4-5 minutes left in the game. Okay, so what am I going to do? How can we find value in this? I do think all the values on that over 6.5. It scares me that that line has not moved off the minus 110 to the over 6.5, but maybe this is just a great opportunity for us to get that over. Like I said, every single game went over yesterday except for the Boston Bruins game. These trends of the goaltenders and the defenses being a couple of steps behind the offenses to start the season is so real. And we look at the New Jersey Devils, and this team is built for offense. I think there's a couple of players you can look at here. If you're looking at the Red Wings, look at Dylan Larkin for the goal, the captain here. He's coming in at plus 200. I like him. They've got a lot of great young players here on this team. I wouldn't be surprised if this team really gets things together here tonight and has a really strong performance offensively. So I do think because of that, you can add that into the equation with the Devils and how strong this team is. It's just kind of scary with Vanacek here to look at this over, but I do think that is the right way to go. I'm going to look at a couple of things. One thing you could do if you like the New Jersey Devils to get the straight up win here and Jack Hughes to get an anytime goal, if you parlay the two of those. I did this over FanDuel earlier this morning. It was a plus 172, those two parlayed together. So one way to look at it there. But I like Jesper Bratt. He's on one of the top lines for the New Jersey Devils to record an assist tonight. That's coming in at plus 100. Tyler Toffoli, he came from my Calgary Flames, and you guys, he shoots that puck at the net, left, right, and center. He's going to be taking on Huso here and firing at will. So I think you could take him for the opportunity to get the anytime goal. And now I looked at Jack Hughes here. Unless you like him to get the anytime goal, which I do think he can at plus 125, the value is gone in Jack Hughes in these lines. I love taking shots on goal prop, but when we look at the shots on goal prop for this game, taking anyone on the New Jersey Devils, you are laying the juice, and then you're getting up to 4+ shots on goal, which is a lot to ask of these players out there. So staying up the shots on goal prop, but I do think between Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Tyler Toffoli, you can look at you can't look at their points. You can look at Jesper Bratt for the assist to get value at plus 100, Tyler Toffoli and Jack Hughes for those goals. Again, you got to take them 2+ points to get any value. And I just don't like doing that, you guys. The first period, though, give me the over 1.5 in the first period. I don't care who scores then, the over 1.5 coming in a little juiced at minus 140, but the best bet I do think, just take this game over the 6.5. So you guys, I'm super excited for this. Big shout out to everyone on IG and Twitter X. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going over every single game for those of you just jumping in right now. We're going to have a lot of fun here. Hughes, anytime goal, absolutely. And I do like that over 6.5 as well. So let's get to the next game. Like I said, 7 games on deck today. We're going to try to do these games every day as fast as we can. The St. Louis Blues taking on the Dallas Stars. Okay, this is another one. Where can we find value in this? Let's just see if there's been any movement in the lines. Again, you guys, I'm giving you the lines over on FanDuel here. Okay, let's just find this game. The Dallas Stars coming in at minus 205 right now. So they were closer to minus 249 earlier in the day. And the St. Louis Blues coming in at plus 168. That total still sitting at 6.5, juice to that under at minus 118 to the under. The Dallas Stars at at minus 1.5 or plus 118, and the St. Louis Blues plus 1.5 or minus 142. Now, the St. Louis Blues are a scrappy team. The Dallas Stars are a phenomenal home team with Jake Ottinger getting the start. Jake Ottinger is one of those goalies who is absolutely fantastic. My concern here for the Dallas Stars covering the puck line is Hines is a game time decision, so we'll see if he makes the ice. Binghamton is in net for the St. Louis Blues. He's a sieve out there in the goal. He gives up goals left, right, and center. So this line is justifiable here. I think Dallas is a deeper team. Dallas in regulation is where you're going to find the most value betting this one. It's minus 140 for Dallas in regulation. Now you can look at their team total. If you do think we're going to see Jordan Binnington act like the Jordan Binnington we know, and for the Dallas Stars to get 4 goals in this one, the over 3.5 goals is minus 118. But this isn't a game that I love. So it's Dallas at home with Jake Ottinger in net, the deeper team. Hines, question mark. So give me the Dallas Stars in regulation. If Hines is for sure a go in this game, I would be taking the Dallas Stars laying the 1.5 at home in this one. The St. Louis Blues, like I said, Jordan Binnington, I don't trust. So let's get back to the next game here. We have the Florida Panthers taking on the Minnesota Wild. Now, the Florida Panthers are a dog coming into this one at plus 116, minus 140 here for the Wild. Total of 6.5. Now, that 6.5 is juiced to that under at minus 114. And this is because of the Minnesota Wild's defense. This is a defense that we saw so phenomenally strong last season, really limiting opponents' ability to get those shots on goal, and strong goaltending here. But like I said, little bit of concern with defenses and goaltending to start these seasons, especially against the Florida Panthers. Now, the Florida Panthers are a team that we know their story last season. They're looking to come in here and prove to everyone that they were not a one-hit wonder coming in to this season. They're looking to get those wins, and they're looking to dominate straight out of the gate. Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Reinhart, definitely players when you're looking at the Florida Panthers that you want to look at to dig deep in every game and get you those points. Can they pull off the upset here versus the Minnesota Wild in Minnesota is the biggest question mark, because this Minnesota Wild team is so strong, especially at home. Now, Gustafsson is getting the start in net for them. He's a solid goalie, but who do I trust more? Gustafsson here for the Minnesota Wild or Bobrovsky for the Florida Panthers? It's got to be Bobrovsky. I love what we've seen out of him. We know he put the weight of this team on his back last season. Offensively, this team fires at will. Defensively, they allow those shots on their goalie, and Bobrovsky can make or break this game for the Florida Panthers. I'm going to back the fact that Bobrovsky, I think, is ready to prove himself again in this game. I like the Florida Panthers to be able to get this win on the road here. We look at those trends, the last 5 matchups between these two. The Florida Panthers have won each and every one. Make it 6 here tonight. I think they steamroll over the Minnesota Wild. I almost said Colorado Avs. The Avs got the win last night, and they also covered their team total, which was good. But yeah, look for Matthew Tkachuk. I'm staying off this total here. We look at these two teams, 4-1 last 5 meetings to that over. But Minnesota, like I said, this defense is so solid. They really do trend to the under when they're playing at home. So I'm going to definitely look here at the Florida Panthers. We just see the Wild struggle too much versus the Panthers over the years. In hockey, I'll say it again today, those teams that aren't as good as other teams but still find a way to beat them, it happens year in and year out. And it's not even explainable how that happens. It's just something that some teams can't play others. The penalty kill of the Florida Panthers needs so much work. So I'm hoping this season we can see that penalty kill come out a lot stronger. If they get the penalties in this game, there is no way they are going to win it because the Minnesota Wild will capitalize on those penalties. They've got a strong power play from last season. So give me the Florida Panthers on the money line. Look at Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Reinhart there for those points. Now, the next game, we're going to look at Florida injuries concerns. Yeah, there are some injuries, but I love what we're seeing out of Bobrovsky. And you look at the Wild, and I just look at this team, and I don't think that even if they play a strong defense here, that their defense is going to be able to be at the level of competition here that we're seeing of the Florida Panthers. Okay, the Seattle Kraken taking on the Nashville Predators. Now, we've already seen both of these teams out so far this season. The Seattle Kraken just terrible looking versus the Vegas Golden Knights. I had liked the Vegas Golden Knights to come out slow in that first period, but they absolutely did not. They came out and they dominated the Seattle Kraken from the very start. Now, McCann was able to get us that goal, get the points on the board, but otherwise, this team looked absolutely flat out there on the ice at only one goal. Nashville Predators, kind of different situation here. We saw the Nashville Predators come out strong in the second and third period versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. If they would have come out like that in the first period, we would have had a very different result in Tampa Bay. I think the Nashville Predators would have been able to walk away and get us that plus money with the win. Now, this is their opening game at home here, and I do have high hopes for this Nashville Predators team this season, so I'm going to take them here for the win. I just want to see if lines have moved. This was a dead pick'em earlier this morning here. And we're now looking at the Nashville Predators minus 111. So basically a pick 'em and minus 108 for the Seattle Kraken. Now we're getting plus money to that over at plus 110 over a 6.5. If you like the Nashville Predators for a big, huge win here, minus 1.5 is coming in at plus 205. You guys are going to sprinkle a little bit on that. I do think the Nashville Predators have the opportunity to get a big win over the Seattle Kraken, just like we saw the Vegas Golden Knights do in their last game. I think this team is so phenomenally strong. I love the addition of Ryan O'Reilly. He was able to get us a point in that last game, and I would look at Ryan O'Reilly here as well, or Forsberg. Forsberg, definitely another strong key player on this Nashville Predators team. Now, when we look at the Seattle Kraken, Grubauer should be getting the start here. So far on the season, because of the loss, that goals against average is now at 3.02. Saros getting the start here for the Nashville Predators, and he did let in a lot of goals versus the Tampa Bay Lightning with a 4.19 goals against average in that last game. I do think this is one where we see the Kraken go back home for their next game and get the win. A look ahead here for the Kraken to win their home opener versus the St. Louis Blues, but I don't think they're able to get the win here. So it's the Nashville Predators minus 111, puck line at minus 1.5 at plus. What was that? Fell off my mind at plus 205. So much value in them to be able to get this win here on that puck line. It's going to be a great game. Couple other players to look at. Erik Karlsson here. You can look at him to get his points. Again, strong defensive player. He's come over from the Sharks. He's so strong here for this team, for the Nashville Predators. I do think he should make an impact here again tonight. And remember, this power play is deadly for the Preds. This team can really get things going. We have one last game on the board, you guys. We're wrapping up the night with the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the San Jose Sharks. Now, current odds right now over on FanDuel, the Vegas Golden Knights coming in at minus 255, plus 205 here for the San Jose Sharks. Total of 6.5. Juice to that under, minus 112 to the under, minus 108 to the under. Okay, we saw what Vegas did in their opening game, completely owning the Seattle Kraken. We look at the San Jose Sharks here, one of the worst teams in the whole league. This team is definitely in a rebuild mode. That being said, what are we going to do? Do you guys really trust the Vegas Golden Knights to cover that puck line? I'm not sure if I do. The San Jose Sharks gave the Vegas Golden Knights troubles last season. They came out and they came out really strong against these teams and they beat the teams that they were not supposed to beat. That being said, total rebuild for this team. James Reimer has moved over to Detroit. Erik Karlsson, we just talked about him. He's now with the Penguins, and Timo Meier with the Devils. So this team has had adjustments here, and we're going to see definitely some issues for this team coming out. I'm going to look at that first period. I'm going to look at that first period to go over 1.5 goals at -134. I think it's a solid way to take this, because if the Sharks do somehow find a way to score early on Logan Thompson here coming out for the Vegas Golden Knights, we know that the Vegas Golden Knights came out hot right out of the gate in their last game. So I do expect that the San Jose Sharks and the Vegas Golden Knights game will be no different, where we'll see Vegas coming right out of the gate and firing at will. So give me the Vegas Golden Knights and the San Jose Sharks first period over 1.5 and -134. I looked at points in this game, you guys. There is absolutely no value for Jack Eichel to get points, Mark Stone to get points. Basically, anyone on Vegas, you're going to have to take 2+ points in this matchup. I don't love it. The Vegas Golden Knights also have dominated this matchup. So you can look at that for the straight up win. They're 8-1 in the last 9 meetings, and San Jose and 13-3 in the last 16 meetings overall. The Sharks just have somehow found a way to keep these games tight and put that pressure on the Vegas Golden Knights. So be careful with this one. Even though this is a rebuild team, you got to remember, we see it in football, we see it in hockey. These low-hanging fruits, I guess, low-hanging teams here, like the Detroit Lions we saw on that first Thursday night game in the NFL, they come out to play in game one, especially in this case with the San Jose Sharks at home. I don't absolutely trust the Vegas Golden Knights on the puck line. And I know some of you guys are saying you're crazy. The Vegas Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup, and the San Jose Sharks are one of the worst teams in the league. Yeah, absolutely. This team is a mess. But I do think that this is one where you have to be very careful with what you do. Give me the over 1.5 in that first period. Now, you guys, again, I will try to get some timestamps up there on Twitter, on X, on the Sports Grid TV Twitter. So if you're looking to rewatch this, make sure you go over there for those bets. But all the best in all of your bets. Don't forget, Game Time Decisions is kicking off in the next 2 minutes at the top of the hour. You also want to check out the Sports Grid the Sports Grid app. It is now available at the Google Store, Apple Store, everywhere you can find your apps. You can download it, and it's for free. You can follow your favorite hosts, including me, and you can get great prop bets over there, bets, leans, everything like that. So check it out today. And you guys, I will be live on Sports Grid Saturday night from 8 o'clock to midnight Eastern. And if you have not seen my Sports Grid best bet for tonight's Thursday night football, it is over on all of their social media. So make sure you check that out. Man, could both teams lose tonight? I would love both teams to lose. So, I forgot those questions. Everyone wanted those questions. Let's quickly get to those within the next 2 minutes. Habs to win the Stanley Cup. The odds on that are plus 20,000. So Ian, who wrote in with, what are the odds that my Habs can win, which is the Montreal Canadiens, plus 20,000. Definitely not where you want to go. Now, the Red Wings, how they'll do. Taylor, you asked that for this season. I think the Red Wings should do better than expected. I think they're a little bit underrated this season. I like their win total to that over. And talking about a couple other win totals to that over, you guys, I do have a future on the New Jersey Devils. You can still get it today. Their point total over 105.5 points for them. I also have a point total over 91.5 for the Ottawa Senators. Jack Hughes, his personal point total over 99.5 points this season, I love. And then Tag Thompson over 88.5 points for the Buffalo Sabres. We are riding him for the goal tonight. We need all the points we can get with him. A couple other things to keep in mind here. Someone asked me what the thoughts are on Ovechkin reaching the 850 goals. He has 822 goals. This is the Washington Capitals forward. We all know who Ovechkin is. He needs to hit 72 more to be tied with Wayne Gretzky for 894. I think he hits the 850 this season. It's going to be deeper into the season. Again, he needs how many? He needs 28 more to reach that number this season. He can get it. In the last 19 seasons, he's had over 20 plus goals in each of those 19. So look deeper into the season for him to be able to get that. That being said, FanDuel, the favorite for him to reach the 850 mark is versus the Montreal Canadiens. So if you're liking that, look at that schedule. Sidney Crosby also, he needs 50 goals this season to hit the 600 club. So someone else to target and look for. Last question was, when you're looking at totals, how do you choose to go over or under? So when looking at those totals, you guys, I'm looking at those goalies, and then I'm looking at those defenses. Goalies with good goals against average stats there. I then start breaking down what their defenses are doing. When we look at teams that really limit opponents' ability to get those shots on goal, but then we still have a goalie with a high GAA, goals against average, I'm breaking that apart to see where the misconnect is. And in a lot of cases, it is these goalies with a really strong defense that is able to get those block shots, limit their opponents to being able to get those block shots, trend to that under, whereas we have a team that is really solid offensively facing a team whose defense gives up a lot of shots on goal against a goalie that is really still solid in there. I do think those games more likely go to that over and have the possibility of going to that over. A goalie can only stand on his head so much. So goalie is only as good as his defensive guys in front of him, I really do believe. So if you're looking to bet unders, really look at those teams who are able to limit the shots on goal on their goaltender versus a team, even if it's middle of a range offense there, or a team that really doesn't get a lot of shots on goal, because their shots on goal, we got to look for those high danger shots as well. So hopefully that answered that question. But again, Game Time Decisions has kicked off. Make sure you join that, and In-Game Live will be after that, and join Sports Rage tonight. So you guys, all the best in all of your bets. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, 5:30 Eastern. Bye, guys.